didn't watch it.
Oh, they had the stuff that all lit up.
And that was all soft circuits?
That's soft circuits. That's an application of soft circuits, but there's many, many more applications.
If you get internet here, I bet it's on YouTube.
We don't have internet tonight. We usually do, but I couldn't get on. I was going to show that TED Talk of the Sixth Sense, you know, where they're doing the phone on the hand. Talk about soft circuit.
See? and a lot of our thinking is constrained by, phones being in a hard shell, but why do they need to be? One of my examples I readily think of for becoming a soft circuit is a TV remote, because you could have it just lay over the arm of the chair, or someone who's bedridden can just be part of the quilt, right? And I think it would stay put more. You could pin it onto someplace and people wouldn't run off with it. But I think there's just an amazing number of things that could be done with soft circuits, and it's also known as e-textiles. So I've just been kind of wandering around in it. I did go through this book, but I haven't done a lot of the projects in it. I'm the kind of person that learns by doing. And what I'm trying to do is come up with a relatively inexpensive project that a lot of people can do just by way of an introduction. So I'll pass this around. But I was just going to point out one of the projects they have in here is a bag that when your cell phone rings, the eyes light on there. Pass that around. So I first started with one of the most easy things. You know, you can't do your touchpad devices with your gloves on. Well, with conductive thread, you can, because all you got to do is put a little patch there of conductive thread, and it'll carry the grounding from your finger through the glove, and it works really well. So I'll pass that around. Be careful, the needle is still on there. And then from there I thought, well, you know, you're out there in the dark, sometimes you need a light. And so I was working on that one, and I put like a little LED on here, and the only convenient place to do the battery was maybe on the wrist, but I quickly realized what a bad idea, because the glove stretches, and then the thread, and it's all loopy, and so I said, reject. So I didn't like that. So from there, I moved on to making myself a little light that goes on your wrist, because I never have a good book light, and my husband's the kind of person that goes to sleep really early and doesn't like light, and I like to read for a little bit, and so I never like a book. I've tried so many, and there's just no good ones. Well, this one actually works pretty well, because you hold your book and it lights where you need to go. And then when you got to go out in the middle of the night, because we also have like chickens and goats, whatever, and something's out there, you got to go out at night, you can go out and your hands are still free, and you can do what you need to do, and you got a flashlight. So it's pretty tech. It's pretty easy.
What do you use to power it?
There's a 3-volt battery here. The conductive thread is, instead of having a wire, and then what terminates the circuit or closes the circuit is just a snap. Now I went, oh, wouldn't it be nicer to have a bigger snap?
See, so when she closes it, it turns on.
Yeah, and I'll pass it around so you guys can really look. It looks pretty tacky. My sewing skills are really poor, but it lights, and that's the part that matters. A couple points was the hole is just really too small in these battery holders for this size of conductive thread. So I had to do some unnatural things like peel it apart and then tie it on there. So, it left a lot to be desired.
You had to do some unnatural things? It seems like the whole thing is pretty unnatural.
No. And I also learned the hard way that, I thought, a bigger snap would be good. But beware, because if it's got a coating, you would have to scrape off that coating to make it be an electrical contact. So I'll pass this around. But I quickly decided, it's really pointed. So that was version 1. And then today, I create that time when I suddenly have a deadline, like we all are. I worked on version 2. And so there's something called conductive fabric, but it's pretty expensive per yard. And you can make your own using, I've probably had this for 2 or 3 decades, but it's an adhesive you can just iron on. And so with adhesive, I ironed on tin foil to make my own conductive fabric. and then did the same with the battery holder. And then you can, there's a type of LED that is variously called like a sequin LED or a lily pad, and they're quite a bit more expensive than that type of LED and not quite as bright. But I wanted to use just one so you would get a chance to see what these are. And this has the same snap because I couldn't go to the bigger one because I had the coating and I knew I'd never have time to scrape it all off. And then I spent quite a bit of time changing where the snaps were that had that flexibility because this is all electrically connected because of the foil. So I'll pass that around.
Does it turn on?
It does actually, and I would have actually, you know, either glued this together or whatever to finish it off, but I want people to be able to look inside.